The reason why the world is not where it could be is because of the men that have been controlling it so far. Who else are we gonna blame? We gonna blame the women? Last time I checked, they don't have nearly enough power. We should feel encouraged to encourage more men to find the best version of themselves. Because energy is a domino effect, right? The impact that I leave on one person increases the chances of that person leaving that impact on another person. One of two things is gonna happen when a great man comes around. He's gonna inspire other men to also become great, or he's gonna expose the lack of greatness within certain men who got no desire to change. That's why it's so important for a man to be great, because he's gonna inspire the right men to step up and he's gonna inspire the wrong men to step out. But let me tell you something, no matter what you wanna say about women, you can say whatever you wanna say. And some of it I might even agree with you, but one thing that I'm not gonna agree with you on, the majority of the bloodshed on this planet probably comes from men and not them. When a father is present, a wife or a mother doesn't have to be as stressed because she's not taking on all the load. And when she's not overworked, she don't gotta give that stress to the kids. The first example of a great man a woman will ever see gotta be her dad. And if you're not in the house with the babies, you gotta work even harder to make sure that your presence is felt, bro. You gotta be present. When a man chooses to be great, women have the space to thrive. When you're looking at a person who off their program, that's the branches of the problem. But the root of the problem is the thing that inspired them to get that way. See, so if we want to stop more people from becoming this, we got to look at the thing that's creating that. And you know what? Some women gonna think you ain't shit anyway, even though you're a great man. And I would encourage you, ignore them. Ignore those women. We give way too much attention to women who don't know a good man when they see one. Women who hate men, I don't care what you think. I'm gonna be a good man regardless, because I'm here to do good for the women who hates me too. Welcome back to another episode of the Halfway Up podcast, and I call it Halfway Up because you never finish rising. It's like another way of saying it's not about the destination, but it's about the journey. Why? Because you're never done. It's always some shit to do. And this episode is no different. We're gonna talk about some more things that need to get done. But before I get into that, if you're listening to that, for the people that's watching, you already know what that was. But for the people that's listening, this is a room spray. A room spray with sandalwood, vanilla, and peppermint inside of it. Why is this important? Because this room spray was designed and created by King Energy only. We got a good candle right here, a great candle that burns for 105 hours. King Energy only, this for my kings. This is for the type of guy who love having a candle lit in his house because he got a woman in his life, right? Whether she live with you or she come to visit every now and then. Get you one of these candles because it burns for 105 hours. You know what you could do with 100, and you know what you can do in 105 hours? Think about it. A lot of things can be done in 105 hours. I'm just saying. Not only can you light this candle and have this burning, you can have the playlist playing that they create for you to match with the scent of the candle. So listen, this episode is why men need to be great. Men need to be great. We need great men. We need great men. The world will become better the minute more men decide that being average is not enough. The minute that more men can decide that, you know what, I don't want to be good, I want to be great. When my man Jay-Z said, don't be good, my nigga, be great. After that government cheese, we eating steak. That's what we need. We need more great men. Because you know what? For the people that's listening, maybe we won't agree on everything. But I'm willing to bet there's one thing that we will agree on. The world would probably be a much better place if more men were inspired and motivated and pushed to be greater. And I mean greater in the sense of like, what can a man do to be good for everybody? You get what I'm saying? Not greatness is like, I got the most money, like I'm Elon Musk kind of great, or I'm Jeff Bezos kind of great, or Bill Gates type of greatness. I'm talking about the type of man where you can be a better boyfriend or husband to your wife, a better son to your mother, a better son to your father, a better brother to your sister, a better cousin to your cousins. I'm talking about being a better member within society, so when you do good, everybody else can feel inspired to do good because you setting the tone. You setting the example. That's what it means to be a great man, and that's what we're going to talk about in this conversation. I'm very excited to be having this one, man, because, you know, when I think about this podcast and what it means, it's only about inspiring people to be greater. And I'm really talking to everybody, but at the same time, though, I got a special place in my heart for the guys because as a man, I understand how much guidance, how much we benefit from having guidance, how much we benefit from having a little bit of motivation and inspiration. We need that, man. And growing up, I always wanted to have a mentor. I always thought that'd be some fly shit, to have a man in my life outside of my father, who's so cool, who's so dope and so accomplished, right? That he done did something that I'm trying to do already. And then maybe if I learn from him, then maybe I can bypass all the mistakes that that guy had to go through and I could just get it straight from the source. I can get that straight wisdom, straight to the source, right? And I can evade the issues that he had to go through and go straight to the victories, straight to the accomplishments. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a mentor and I'm not saying that this is mentorship, but what I am saying is that each one teach one, we can grow together, man. Man sharpen man like iron sharpen metal. And that's what I want to happen from these conversations. That's what I want to happen from this podcast, man. Hopefully something in this will inspire somebody to take one step closer to trying to find greatness. You get what I'm saying? All right, so let's jump right into this. The reason why we need men to be great is because men set the tone for society. When you think about the status of the world, right? The conditions that the world is in, men are the people with all the power. Men are the people who pressing all the buttons. They calling all the shots. Everything that's happening on this planet, for the most part, is happening because of a man. It's a man's influence. A man has the say so. He has the final say. You know what I'm saying? He giving out the commands. He giving out the orders. So when we think about how imperfect the world is, not to place all the blame on men, but it is to give accountability to the men, right? Because men have to be accountable. We can't be having these goofy conversations about women not taking accountability if we can't take accountability for this one truth, which is we can honestly say that the reason why the world is not where it could be is because of the men that have been controlling it so far. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. Who else are we going to blame? We going to blame the women? Last time I checked, the women they don't have nearly enough power to blame them for the things for the issues that the world at large has been suffering from. And I'm not just talking about what we experience here in America with relationships and divorce and child support and alimony and all of that type of stuff, right? That's not the conversation I'm having. I'm having a way bigger conversation where when we ask ourselves why there's war going on in any area in the world, any area at all, who's to blame for that? Who's responsible for that? It's the men. And we know this. And it's not to demonize all men, right? Just because there are some men in power that do terrible things with it doesn't mean that the men like me should have to feel bad for that. But it is to say that we should all feel encouraged as men, no matter where on the planet that you are, we should feel encouraged to encourage more men to find the best version of themselves. Because energy is a domino effect, right? The impact that I leave on one person increases the chances of that person leaving that impact on another person, and so on and so on and so on, right? Until we create impact. You know what I mean? We're doing things that resonate with people, that continue to resonate with people, that continue to resonate with more people. That's why men are important, because we are the most influential people on this planet. And in a lot of ways, that's been a really bad thing, right? But in some ways, that's also been a good thing too. I know people would love to have these conversations like the world is completely going to shit because of men, right? It's like men only do bad, but that's not true. There's 100 million cases of men doing beautiful things. For example, Dr. Sebi, one of my personal heroes, a beautiful man who inspired a generation of people to live better and eat better, inspired men and women to take further steps into wellness and being connected with their body, right? Men inspire the actions of other men. So whenever a great man comes into a civilization or a community, one or two things is going to happen when a great man comes around. He's going to inspire other men to also become great, or he's going to expose the lack of greatness within certain men who got no desire to change. And those are the men that be the first one we got to get out of here. But they see that's what happens when great men come around. When great men come around, we expose the niggas who fake. When great men come around, we expose the niggas who fake. We expose the people who got no intention on being good men to our women, being good fathers to the babies, being good members to society. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's so important for a man to be great, because he's going to inspire the right men to step up and he's going to inspire the wrong men to step out. And maybe collectively we can push those men out. We don't need them in our culture. We don't need them within our society because they're a bad apple and they spread poison. You get what I'm saying? They spread propaganda and they spread bullshit that distracts us and further stops us from the progress and the accomplishments that we really could be having. The peace in the world that we want to see as men starts with the men. Obviously, we need the women's help too. Obviously. But I'm going to be real. Women do a way better job. But let me tell you something. No matter what you want to say about women, you can say whatever you want to say. And some of it, I might even agree with you. But one thing that I'm not going to agree with you on is that at the end of the day, the majority of the bloodshed on this planet probably comes from men and not them. It comes from the men, not the women. You can say whatever you want to say about the women. A lot of the bloodshed, the senseless killings, the senseless murders, the senseless lives being taken probably comes from the egos of men. And I'm not the type of guy who believes in world peace. I don't think world peace will ever really exist, but I do believe that we can get further and farther in life. We can progress. We can make things better. And we can only make things better when we inspire other men to become greater. Be great to somebody. Be great to something. Be great about something. Care about something. You get what I'm saying? Be great. The second reason why we need men to be great is because present fathers create healthier families. Whenever a dad is in the picture and he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, he's relieving the mom from all the pressure of taking care of the babies. He's picking up the load. He's doing what he needs to do, being where he needs to be. When he's teaching his son how to be a man, he's teaching him morals, values, discipline, honor, integrity. He creates a little boy who goes out into the world and does good things. He creates a little boy who eventually becomes a grown man, and he'll be a perfect husband to a perfect wife. That's what happens when a father is in the house. When a father is present, everybody sleep better at night. You don't worry about hearing things in the middle of the night. You don't worry about anything randomly happening to y'all as a family because you believe in your heart that daddy gonna take care of it. You believe that your pop gonna take care of it. You believe that your pop gonna keep you safe. When a father is present, a little girl doesn't have to be exposed to things too early, right? Because she is protected by her father's provision. When a father is present, a wife or a mother doesn't have to be as stressed because she's not taking on all the load. And when she's not overworked, she don't gotta give that stress to the kids. She don't got to give stress to the kids that they don't deserve to have because she can feel more balanced because somebody is there to help her alleviate that pressure. These are the things that happen when a father is present. When a father is present, a girl doesn't growing up falling for all the bad men in the world, right? Maybe she get finessed by a couple of them, but not all of them because she has an idea in her mind of what a great man is. If a man is so far away from the idea of her father, she knows that's not the guy for her, right? Even if she decide to do a little some exchange for a piece of change with that guy, at least you know she doing something all on her own will. At that point, she doing whatever she want to do, right? And that's a different story than saying that I don't know how to pick a right guy because the right guy was never in my life. The first example of a great man a woman will ever see gotta be her dad. The first love story that a child will ever know is the dynamic between their parents. And listen, I understand that everything ain't everything. We're not living in a perfect world, right? So sometimes parents don't work out and they go separate ways, but it's still your job to be a present father. When a father is not present, it leaves space for the enemy to come through. When a father is not present, it leaves space for confusion to come through. You get what I'm saying? This is why it's so important for men to be great. And I'm not saying that you're not a great man because you're not in your house anymore. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that even if you not in your child's, even if you're not in the house with the babies, you got to work even harder to make sure that your presence is felt, bro. You got to be present. Because if a father being present creates healthier families, then that means you have healthier children. If you have healthier children, then that means you have healthier friends. If you have healthier friends, then it means you have healthier communities. If you have healthier communities, that means you have healthier cities. If you have healthier cities, that means you have healthier states. If you have healthier states, then that means you have healthier countries. Energy is a domino effect, man. The way these things work, man, it all starts with the father. It all starts with the man in the house. Even so much to the point that being a great man means not having children with a woman who's not worthy. Because who are you supposed to blame if you have children with a woman who was never fit to be a great mother and now she's making your life harder and the children's life harder? Who are you going to blame, bro? That was your call. That was your call. And that doesn't mean that we don't share empathy. We should always have empathy. We should always have empathy, right? But it is to say that, listen, almost everything is on your watch, bro, as a man. Almost everything that goes wrong, it almost filters back to you almost every single time, man. We need more great men because great men make great decisions. If we make great decisions, then that means we have greater outcomes. If we have greater outcomes, that means we have greater realities. If we have greater realities, that means we have greater generations. If we have greater generations, that means we have greater progress in life. You see the domino effect? You got to follow this. You got to follow this shit, man. The third thing, the reason why men need to be great is because great men inspire men to be greater. And we need greater men. Let's think about all the stories we hear about violence, all the senseless murders, all the women being manipulated and taken advantage of, right? All the wars, because there are not great men. If we had more great men in every city, in every state, in every business, in every courtroom, in every area that matters, we would have greater outcomes, bro. And that's why we need more great men, because the reason why we are in the position that we in today is because great men are in positions of power that they don't deserve to be in. And only we can stop that. And because they are there, that's why we see things going wrong. Every time we see something going bad, not to say that a man can't make mistakes. And if a man does make mistakes, we must give him empathy, right? But when we see too many problems, too many issues within our cities, too many issues within our governments, too many issues within our countries, too many issues within our states, it's because there are men who are dropping the ball, man. They dropping the ball. They don't deserve to be where they at. They don't deserve to be there, but they are. And we need to find ways to get the right men in the proper positions. We need to find ways to get the right men in the places that they need to be in so they can make the changes that we need to see. The men protect, the men provide, the men give provision, the men give leadership. They set the standard, they set the tone for society. The tone of society, the way society feels, it's because of it's because of the great men that are there or the lack thereof. When we can get great men to inspire other great men, we have less murders. We have less sexual abuse. We have less sexual assault. We have less theft. We have less scamming. We have less manipulation. We have less of these things. Again, I don't believe in the concept of world peace, so we'll never eliminate everything, but we can mitigate the majority of it at best. At best, we can discourage some of that shit so much that it almost never happens, right? And whenever it does happen, the great men can step up and push it out where it needs to be. Being a great man goes so much further than just the peace that you have in your own household. When other men are also encouraged to be great men, that means when you're not around as a father, your daughter's still safe. When you're not around as a husband, your wife is still safe. When you're not around as a son, your mother is still safe. That's why being a great man is so important, because let me tell you something. I don't care if your mama is not my mama. I don't care if I never seen your mama before. If I see a woman in the street being attacked or being hurt, I'm going to step up and I'm going to do the best that I can to mitigate that situation and get her to safety. Why? Because I believe that it's my responsibility. Now, I ain't trying to die for no senseless causes. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to die and be a hero for somebody who don't even respect their own life, right? I ain't saying that at all. But what I am saying is that when you a great man, we create a better community for everybody. If I see a little kid, that kid is lost. That kid look like they don't got their parents around, or that kid is hurt, or somebody is in need. I'm gonna see what I can do, because that's what it means to play your part in your community, right? Energy is a domino effect, right? It continues to move forward. It's a whole concept. It's called paying it forward. You ever been to a coffee shop where you pull up to pay for it and then the person working there let you know that the person that was in front of you already paid? It's a good feeling, man. And then you know what you do? You pay for the person behind you. The same money that you was gonna spend to buy your coffee, you don't gotta spend it because the person in front of you did it. It start with somebody. Somebody gotta be the bigger person. Maybe the first person who started it, maybe nobody paid for their coffee that day, but it didn't matter because you create a domino effect. Don't stop the link in the chain of the domino effect. Keep the energy going, keep it flowing. The fourth thing, in order to be a great man, you have to live for something that's bigger than yourself, right? You can't be a great man when you're selfish. You can't be a great man when everything you do is only for your personal gain. When you're only thinking about yourself, when you're only thinking about what you can get out of the situation, then you can't be a great man. You get what I'm saying? Because a great man understands that giving is the same as receiving. The feeling that you get when you provide, the feeling that you get when you help somebody, the feeling that you get when you got somebody covered, that feeling is that is the value. And a great man understands the difference between price and value. Sometimes the price of shit, the dollar amount, don't equate to the value. Too many times we be selling our souls, man, and we be losing our integrity. We be giving all that shit away for a couple dollars. A couple dollars. Not nearly enough money. When we got to ask ourselves, what is the real value of that money? Like, we hearing about rappers putting hits on other rappers, and the guy who got hired to do the murder get a couple $1,000s, but it's like, is the value of that really worth the risk of what you could potentially lose, right? So we got to understand the difference between price and value, because too many times we confuse them and they're not the same. Living for something bigger than yourself, right? Living for something to see women be happy. Doing something in your life to make sure that the women in your life can be happier. Doing something in your life to make sure that the children in your life, your brothers and your sister or your kids, can be happier. so that your man's kids could be happier, so that your man's kids could be happier, so that the parents at the school that you don't even know them like that. But what can you do to make an offering and contribute more peace to that school, more peace to everything, to everybody that you interact with, to everybody that you meet in passing? What can you do? Living for something bigger than yourself, right? You gotta be out here striving to build something that'll leave the world a better place than how you found it. Because that's what a great man would do. A selfish man only trying to figure out how to fuck bitches and get money. That's what a selfish man do. A great man is trying to figure out how he can make not only his life better, to make his brother's lives better, but then women's lives better too. That's what a great man would do. You got to live for something bigger than yourself. It's the selfish man. The reason why we having all the issues in the world that we having now is because of the selfish men who control it. You get what I'm saying? And we need to get more of the right people in positions of power, you know? And if they're not going to give us spots, then we got to create our own spots. Y'all wouldn't give us a seat at the table? We made our own table. Sometimes you got to make your own table to be a great man. Sometimes the bad men got the doors locked off and they got the room at the table so blocked off that you got to be like, you know what? I'm tired of asking y'all to give me a seat at the table. I'm about to make my own. You got to live for something bigger than yourself. You have to. God honors the type of men who think about things bigger than themselves. When you invest and you dedicate your life to see other people be happy. You know what I'm saying? When you invest your time, your energy, and your livelihood to see other people smile so that other people can feel safe, so that other people can sleep good at night. That's what God honors. If you want the riches and you want the real wealth in life, you can start by living for something that's bigger than you. What can you do in your neighborhood, in your city, in your state, in your house that can make the world a better place? What can you do? And the fifth thing that I want to talk about, the last thing we're going to talk about is when a man chooses to be great, women have the space to thrive. Women have the space to be who they were born to be. So many times we having these conversations about women not being soft these days. We talk about women being hard, women being too street, being too rough. How do you think they got that way? I'm not making excuses for nobody. Everybody has to be accountable for their own actions. I'm a big believer in that. But sometimes we got to step back and have a little bit of empathy, right? We can hold people accountable, but we can also understand how they got to the places that they got. Because that's what great people do. Regular people, let me tell you what average people do. Average people look at the person and look at the problem and don't see it no further than that. They don't see it no deeper than that. All they see is that you a fuck up and you fucking up. And you know what? Maybe that's the best that you can do. But great people look at the person who fucking up and take a step back and think about what created the issue for them to become that way. What inspired that person to become like this? And then they see, oh, the problem is not in the symptom, it's in the root of the problem. You got to look at the root, not the branches. When you're looking at a person who off their program, that's the branches of the problem. But the root of the problem is the thing that inspired them to get that way. See, so if we want to stop more people from becoming this, if we want to stop this from happening, we got to look at the thing that's creating that. We got to look at the thing that's creating it. And we cannot inspire the type of women that we want to make this world a better place when we don't create safe spaces for them. 9 times out of 10, bro. I would love to hear somebody offer up a better argument. 9 times out of 10, the reason why women are not the way we would like them to be is because they don't feel safe to be that, bro. A woman cannot feel encouraged to be who she was naturally born to be when she doesn't feel safe, when she's born in survival mode. And that's why it's so important for men to be great, because when we're great, we give them a chance. We give them a fair chance to be exactly who they really are underneath the facade, underneath the thing that they feel like they had to become to just see another day. You get what I'm saying? Because again, when we're talking about women being safe, who women protecting themselves from? When we're talking about women being safe, man, who are they protecting themselves from? Who's the biggest threat to a woman's life? Like, yo, we got women saying crazy things like, I would rather be in the forest trapped with a bear than a man. And regardless of how ridiculous that sounds to you, it comes from a real place. Now, I'm not saying, again, that us as men have to be responsible for undoing all the evil shit that the bad men have done. But what I am saying is, let us focus on what we can do to make the world a better place. And you know what? Some women gonna think you ain't shit anyway, even though you're a great man. And I would encourage you, ignore them. Ignore those women. We give way too much attention to women who don't know a good man when they see one. Women who hate men I don't care what you think. I'm going to be a good man regardless because I'm here to do good for the women who hates me too. Even for the women that hate men, I still got to be a great man. Because even though you're so foolish to think that all men are bad and all men are pointless and all men are useless, your ignorance is not my problem. I'm going to be a great man because it's way bigger than proving one woman wrong. It's way bigger than proving one woman right. It's about all the women. It's about all the world. It's about all the children. The children are with the woman most of the time because Pop is out there getting to the bread. So you got to create a safe space for a woman to thrive because she's the one who's going to, women are the teachers of the next generation. Women are the teachers. They're the one who's with the child more oftentimes than not. Women are the people that are teaching our children. They are the teachers. They're the first teacher. The first teacher for your parent, the first teacher for your kids is always going to be the parents. Always going to be the parents. And as men, we can do our job by creating safer spaces for the women to thrive so that they can be happier. Because if our woman's happier, then she's a happier mother. If she's a happier mother, we have happier children. If we have happier children, they grow up to be happier adults. If we have happier adults, we have happier societies. If we have happier societies, we have a happier system. It keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. If we have happier adults, we have a happier world, man. Happier. Not peaceful, not world peace, but happier. I don't need world peace. I could settle for a happier world instead. I could do that. And that first starts with being a great man. And with that being said, y'all, that is all for today. That is the episode. We need more great men. We need more great men. If you're a good man, I applaud you. Thank you for being a good man. We need those too. But what's stopping you from being great? What's stopping you? What do you need to happen? What do you need to feel inspired to become great, man? What do you need? Probably the first thing you need to do is you need to get you some king energy only. That's probably the first thing you need to do. The reason why you're probably good and you have yet to make the transition from being great, listen, you need this in your life because it's going to make your house smell better. And if your house smells better, your girl feels better. And if your girl feels better, she's probably going to be doing some dope things around the house. You probably feel inspired to actually cook if you clean them dishes. She probably feel inspired to clean if you did them dishes. You get what I'm saying? We got to create a better environment, man. Let's create a better environment. And one way you can do that is by making your investment in King Energy only, man. They got great candles. They got great room sprays. They're going to get you right. They're going to make sure your environment is very nice and very peaceful for the woman in your life, for you and her and the kids and the family, or just yourself. Because, you deserve to love yourself even if you don't got the kids in the family yet, With that being said, listen, man, my name is Wolf Taylor. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating. Please leave a review. Remember, the mantra, the outro, the religion, the spirit of the brand. Whenever I'm working, I will remember that done is better than perfect. And if I'm satisfied with my work, then that means that I'm living in my purpose. Living your purpose, man. Love you guys, man. Halfway Up Podcast. Wolf Taylor, I'm out of here. Peace.